Emily.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alexis.
And we just watched Lady Bird, and we're here to talk about it.
So, what do we all think?
Just start with the basic premise. It's a movie about a girl who's in high school at a Catholic high school, and then she goes to college.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's not a big overarching plot one. I feel, or not something that really dramatic happens. It's more of a character-driven movie.
For sure.
I love that. It's more about the atmosphere and their feelings and what they say.
Yeah.
And what actually is happening. It's not an action movie.
Yeah, the main conflict is with her mom.
We watched this for the parent-child conflict theme. And one of the things that the group told us to think about before we watched it was why do we all think of Lady Bird's story as more important than her mother's and her point of view? It's taken her point of view, so that's probably why. But it's in each other's stories, Lady Bird is the protagonist in her own story, and her mom's the antagonist. But it's the opposite in the other direction, which is a really interesting point of view. Even though, they're on the same side.
Yeah. Yeah, they both love each other, but
yeah, I guess it's easier to relate to her because we kind of sort of just went through that.
Yeah.
Than the mom.
We're not parents.
Yeah.
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 That would be hard.
Yeah. I saw with my mom, and I bet that she related more to the mom than to Lady Bird, so it's probably about the age, too, and life experiences.
I think one of the other things with that is because of her mother's age and where she was in her life, we don't usually see people at that age as having all the options, Her book is kind of more of a closed story where we give Lady Bird the benefit of the doubt that she could do whatever she wants, which is another reason why we focus on the more Lady Bird type stories than on the stories of people like her mother. It's interesting.
What else are we talking about?
What do we think about the social commentary?
I don't know. There's some we talked about. There's stuff to do with class conflict. With her Lady Bird being kind of embarrassed to tell Jenna where she lives and lying about her house and saying she lives on the wrong side of the tracks and stuff. Her dad losing his job. Yeah, and how that creates a strain on her relationships with the rich kids at her school, but not with Julie because Julie has a similar situation.
Yeah. There were definitely a lot of social issues that it spoke on. I thought one of the more interesting parts and one of the things that was really more resolved at the end was the rejection of things that our parents give us.
Yeah.
Sorry, our roommate just came home. We're filming for a class, Jackie, don't talk.
Wait.
Anyway, so the rejection of things that our parents give us, and then at the end when she says, "This is Christine, your daughter." Yeah. That was really beautiful.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah, that was a big part of her character arc was the growth of appreciating what was being done for her and not being embarrassed or trying to reject her family.
Beautiful. And then another thing we kind of talked about a little bit was how every character is kind of living under a false persona, and they put on these things to try to make themselves seem different than they are, her lying about her house or her name, and then the kid who was his name, Danny, who was kind of hiding that he was gay, which is a whole nother thing, but still. And then all just putting on these.
And Kyle.
Yeah. Every character had it in some way. Even you could say the tanning bed with Jenna is kind of changing who you are for the world.
Julie, not
except for
really.
Yeah.
Julie was comfortable with who she is.
She's super neutral.
We love Julie.
We do love Julie.
Yeah. Oh, something else that we thought, or that I wanted to talk about was the romantic plot line of this movie and how that it was about a female friendship, because basically the two boys kind of come and go within the movie, but her main relationship with people her age is with Julie, and in the beginning they're together, and then they have a conflict that drives them apart, and then Lady Bird has to win her back at the end, and they go to prom together. So we thought that was like really nice to like see that centered like kind of like romantically or like be a focus of her life. Yeah. What else?
Cinematography wise, what did we like and dislike?
That was really cool. I really liked how they showed like Sacramento. Well, like they were actually there, and like I don't know, the pan over shots of like when they were driving in the car.
And I love the drone shots too, like the up high ones. I thought those were great. But then like the close-ups while driving were also emotional, and it's. I mean, it would be like a minute long of just someone driving home, but like as you watch their face, you could feel it. Like I almost started crying. The first one with her mom, just driving in the car, she progressively got sadder. Like it was very emotional.
And the one at the airport, especially. That was so sad.
I love her mom.
Yeah. I like the coloring of certain scenes. I think that
it had like the A24 style.
Yeah.
They always do that.
Yeah, the scenes in like the thrift shop were good. Yeah, I think the driving was like the best example of like what it did cinematography wise. Thread. What was the thread we said? Food.
There were a few that we talked about. We weren't sure because there were so many things that were so reoccurring. We're not sure what like the major thread is, but I think a lot of things could be the thread.
Yeah, it's driving. It's definitely a thread because they showed that so much. With each of the characters, and they were also like arcing while they were driving. I felt like.
Yeah, actually, it opens up too. Like, it opens in that hotel room, and then they're like in the car together. Like, so that's where it starts, and then like, where it ends as well.
So many of the really important scenes were either, I mean, not just driving, but also like any kind of transit. Like the one with the airport, or then the scenes where she's like walking with people.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And at the end where she's like gets off the train.
Yeah.
Oh, we also talked about like the Catholic Church at the end. What were you saying about that?
Well, I really liked how they used, so in the beginning she's like rejecting Sacramento, and I think they did the same thing with like the Catholicism and Sacramento, where she was like rejecting them at the beginning and like really hating them, and like when she yelled at the abortion lady. But so funny. And then towards the end they're like talking about how she actually seems to see Sacramento like really positively, and how she got really emotional driving in Sacramento, and then after she wakes up in the hospital, she like immediately goes to the church. So those are like really comforting like home things for her, and I think that's really relatable to a lot of people, where like we reject the place that we come from, but we still see those things as like comfortable and comforting.
Yeah, and then once you're away, you like miss things about it that you like growing up. You're like, oh, I can't wait to be away from this. Yeah, and I think that's interesting too, of like how that like her arc with Sacramento was like basically like her arc with her family, like how those things were probably like tied together on purpose.
Yeah, that's another thing we talked about. Like the main like idea is the parent-child conflict between her and her mom, but then like all the members of the family, like including Shelley, like all 5 of them, they had different interpersonal relationships with each of them. And I think it was really well explored, and like they were really fleshed out characters. Say the thing about the sitcom.
Oh yeah, so I was like reading a review of it, and like they were talking about how like this movie had like the kind of like typical characters of like a sitcom or like something like 90s coming of age movie, of like the dad being like sad and like losing his job, but like being like the nice one, like the conflict with the mom, the like funny like goth brother, and then like the nice boyfriend, the like bad boyfriend, but like this movie like fleshed them out and like really made them like feel like all like full people, which is not something that you always see, and it's like really hard to do. Like it really like felt like you like could like know these people.
Yeah, even the characters that came and went.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, all the dialogue was very, like, we thought it was very well done and, like, very accurately captured, like, what actual high schoolers are like.
Like awkward.
Yeah. We love the, every conversation she has with Danny is so funny. Like,
Kyle.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then we were saying, too, like, even Kyle, like, I don't know, like, he doesn't get as, you don't, like, feel as bad for him or, like, feel as much for him as the others, but, like, he still feels like someone that we've, like, met.
Yeah.
Or, like, you definitely know that
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there...
Do we have any closing statements?
I don't have any closing statements.
It was really well done.
Yeah, we really
liked Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Queen.
Robbed of an Oscar. Okay,
Okay, sweet.
bye.